Ladies and gentlemen, friends and seekers of meaning, we often hear people say life is hard or life is full of problems. But today I stand before you to challenge that mindset. I want you to look beyond the struggles, beyond the chaos, and see the truth. Life is not a problem to be solved. It is a gift to be experienced, a journey to be embraced, and a mystery to be appreciated. From the moment we are born, society begins to condition us to view life as a task. Learn to always aim for the next goal. This mindset creates a continue on regress with trigger. This mindset creates unnecessary anxiety and pressure. It robs us of the ability to be fully present in the moment. Life in its most natural state was never meant to be a problem-solving exercise. It was always meant to be lived, to be felt, to be journeyed through with wonder. The metaphor of a journey is powerful. Journeys do not demand perfection. They ask only that we continue. Singular destination that defines the worth of the journey. Rather, it is the movement itself, the experience of walking, the journey. Rather, it is the movement itself, the experience of walking the path, that gives life its richness. Journeys do not demand perfection. They put some days are uphill battles, while others feel like smooth sailing. But both are part of the same road. And neither is a problem to be fixed. When we look at life through the lens of a journey, we allow ourselves to appreciate moments as they are. We no longer label every difficulty as a failure or mistake that needs to be corrected. Instead, we begin to see our experiences as essential pieces of a larger picture. Pain, joy, loss, triumph, they are become milestones. They aren't evidence that something is wrong. They are simply markers along the way, helping us grow, helping us become. The idea is not to avoid challenges, but to engage with them as necessary elements of movement and evolution. Problems by definition require answers, but life doesn't always offer neat solutions. There are questions we may never be able to answer. There are events we may never fully understand. Trying to solve life creates a false expectation of control and finality. It leads us to believe that once we figure everything out, we will finally be at peace. But peace does not come from answers. It comes from surrendering to the rhythm of life itself. When we let go of the need to solve everything, then there is, they said to me, the devil from a secret. And in a journey, surprises are not inconveniences. They are part of the adventure. When you embark on a road trip, you don't expect everything to go exactly as planned. You allow room for the unexpected, a breathtaking sunset, an spontaneous conversation, a spontaneous turn that leads somewhere beautiful. Life is much the same. If we view it as a rigid problem to conquer, we become afraid of the unknown. But if we embrace it as a journey, we learn to welcome change and uncertainty as gifts. If we embrace it as a journey, moreover, journeys are not about speed, they are about movement, about progress, however slow or uncertain it may seem. Life in this way is about being in motion, not rushing to a destination, but savoring the experiences along the path, the highs and lows, the smooth roads and the rough terrain. All contribute to the unique story we are writing with every breath. So instead of trying to fix life, perhaps we should begin to walk with it, to learn from it, and most importantly, to live it with open arms and an open heart. When we frame life as a problem that constantly needs to be solved, we inadvertently place ourselves in a mental and emotional battlefield. Every moment becomes a challenge, every decision becomes a test, and every imperfection becomes a sign of failure. This mindset pushes us into a constant state of tension, where we are always bracing for the next issue, always analyzing, always overthinking. The natural rhythm of life is lost because our focus is locked onto what's broken, what's lacking, and what needs fixing. We stop enjoying the present and start obsessing over controlling the future, which leads to chronic stress. This continuous stress manifests in countless ways: sleepless nights, anxiety over decisions, inability to relax, or a persistent feeling that we are behind in life. Even during moments of peace, there's a voice in our head saying, "You should be doing more, or this won't last." That voice comes from the belief that we are in a race against time and obstacles. But the truth is, this stress doesn't stem from life itself. It comes from the way we perceive life. The more we see it as a list of problems, the more burdened we feel. Life wasn't designed to be a pressure cooker. It was meant to flow, to breathe, to expand and evolve naturally. With this perception also comes the heavy hand of perfectionism. If life is a problem, then the solution must be perfect. We start demanding flawlessness in our actions, relationships, careers, and even in ourselves. We become terrified of making mistakes because every error feels like a personal failure, like we're falling further behind in solving the great puzzle of life. Perfectionism creates paralysis. It stops us from trying, from risking, from growing. We hold back from pursuing passions or dreams because we fear the possibility of not doing it perfectly. Pressure and perfectionism can be incredibly isolating. When we believe we must fix everything on our own and achieve an ideal version of life, We distance ourselves from others. We compare our messy behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. We feel ashamed of our struggles, as if they are evidence that we are doing life wrong. But in reality, struggle is not a sign of failure. It is a universal experience. Everyone faces difficulties. What isolates us is the illusion that life must be pristine and under control all the time. This mindset also dulls our capacity for joy. Joy is found in spontaneity, in the small imperfections, in the unplanned laughter and the moments of surrender. But when we're consumed with trying to fix life, we miss those moments. We become rigid, serious, overly critical. Life turns into a project instead of a playground. And with that, we lose the lightness that allows us to connect, to play, to feel wonder. In trying to control everything, we stop living fully. Ultimately, the pressure to perfect life turns us into our own worst critics. We become harsh with ourselves, setting impossible standards and beating ourselves up when we fall short. This not only damages our self-esteem, but also clouds our ability to see the beauty of who we are and what we've already overcome. When life is seen as a problem, we measure our worth by how much we solve. But when we shift that view, we begin to see that we are not defined by solutions. We are defined by presence, persistence, and the courage to simply. In the grand tapestry of life, every thread, whether bright or dark, plays a role in creating the final picture. Our tendency to categorize experiences into good and bad often blinds us to the deeper purpose behind them. What we label as bad may actually be a crucial turning point, a silent teacher, or the foundation of a future strength. Conversely, what we see as good might come with its own lessons and consequences. Life is not just about accumulating happy moments. It is about gathering meaningful ones. Each experience, no matter how difficult or delightful, adds depth, texture, and richness to the story we are living. Consider the moments of heartbreak, failure, or loss. While painful in the moment, these experiences often become the greatest sources of wisdom and growth. A loss teaches us appreciation. A failure reveals new paths and inner resilience. A heartbreak deepens our understanding of love and connection. These events may not bring immediate joy, but they bring insight, empathy, and strength, or qualities that shape us into more compassionate and grounded individuals. Without them, our journey would be Daniel Delingi kataule, umergmo, sunichta, 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 sunichta. That's the emotional depth that Shadam Dalahikrata Kuk Distang Dom Dam Kuk Dastam Dam Dam. Likewise, joyful experiences are not just pleasurable, they are anchoring. They remind us why life is worth living. A child's laughter, a spontaneous adventure, a quiet sunrise. These moments ground us in gratitude. They may seem fleeting, but they leave lasting imprints on our memory and spirit. They become the bright pages in our story, the scenes we return to in hard times to remember what's possible. And because we've known pain, we are more attuned to joy. We cherish it more deeply because we understand its rarity and fragility. The contrast between light and dark enhances both. When we begin to see all experiences as contributors to our personal evolution, we stop resisting the difficult ones. We stop asking, why is this happening to me? And begin asking, what is this teaching me? This shift in perspective transforms our relationship with life. We stop judging moments as wasted or wrong, and instead embrace them as necessary chapters. A chapter contributes to the novel of our life, and even the ones filled with struggle often hold the most powerful revelation. This approach fosters a deeper sense of acceptance and patience. We no longer demand constant happiness or clarity. We understand that confusion and discomfort are part of the process. Just like clarity and joy, growth is not linear. It's a spiral of experiences that repeat and deepen over time. There are lessons we learn again and again in new ways, and each time they add another layer of wisdom. By honoring the full spectrum of experiences, we cultivate a life that is not only full, but also meaningful. Ultimately, when we stop separating our story into good parts and bad parts, we begin to value the story as a whole. We realize that who we are today is the result of every moment we've lived. The laughter and the tears, the wins and the losses. Life, then, is not a problem to avoid the bad and seek only the good. It is a collection of moments that together create a powerful, evolving narrative. And in that narrative, every experience matters. Every single one. When we encounter challenges in life, our first instinct is often to resist them. We feel frustrated, defeated, or even angry that things are not going the way we had planned. We label these moments as problems and often wish them away. But the truth is, challenges are not meant to break us. Without challenges, we would never discover our full strength or potential. They are not problems to fear, but invitations to rise. It's during the most difficult times that we learn the most about ourselves. A person doesn't develop courage when everything is easy. We discover courage when we are scared, but choose to move forward anyway. We don't learn patience when things go our way. We learn it when we are forced to wait. Growth does not occur in comfort zones. It happens when we are stretched beyond what we think we can handle. Challenges push us out of stagnation and force us to evolve. They act as mirrors, revealing who we truly are and who we have the potential to become. Think about any person who has inspired you, be it a historical figure, a loved one, or a public leader. Their story likely includes great obstacles. What makes them admirable is not a life without hardship, but how they faced those hardships and what they became because of them. We admire people not for living a problem-free life, but for demonstrating strength, wisdom, and perseverance in the face of trials. Challenges give our stories substance and allow us to inspire others with our journey. They are the very chapters that build our legacy. When we stop seeing challenges as interruptions and start seeing them as part of the path, our perspective shifts entirely. Instead of reacting with fear, we approach them with curiosity. We begin to ask, what is life trying to teach me here? or how can I become better through this? This mindset doesn't make challenges easier, but it makes them more purposeful. It turns what seems like a burden into an opportunity. We stop feeling like victims of life and start becoming students of it. With this shift, growth becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Moreover, challenges foster empathy. When we've struggled, we relate to others who struggle. Our compassion deepens. We become more understanding and less judgmental. Life becomes less about perfection and more about connection. The pain we endure connects us to the shared human experience. And when we overcome our own difficulties, we often feel inspired to help others do the same. In this way, challenges don't just change us, they expand our impact on the world around us. They cultivate humility and generosity in ways that comfort never could. Ultimately, challenges are not blocks in the road. They are the road. They are the sculptors of our character, shaping us into more resilient, wise, and compassionate human beings. When we accept them as necessary companions on our journey, rather than as enemies to defeat, we begin to live with more courage and less resistance. We stop fearing difficulty and start embracing growth. But as people avoiding problems, in a world obsessed with results and outcomes, being present is often undervalued. We are conditioned to believe that our worth lies in how much we know, how many plans we have, and how well we can predict or control the future. We scramble for answers, constantly asking ourselves, what's next? What should I do? Am I making the right choice? But the truth is, life is not a test with a single correct answer. It is an experience unfolding in real time. Is the present moment. Being here now is more powerful than having 100 perfect plans for tomorrow. Many people spend their lives in mental time travel, either regretting the past or fearing the future. They live in a constant state of worry, analyzing what went wrong yesterday or preparing for what might go wrong tomorrow. This habit robs them of the present. They miss the beauty of the now, the conversations they're in, the emotions they're feeling, the opportunities at their fingertips. Life does not wait. It happens moment by moment. It happens moment by moment, and each moment that passes in a moment by moment, it is what you cannot remember, that this is how it is. The pressure to have all the answers also creates a false sense of control. It leads us to believe that if we just think harder, plan more, or analyze every detail, we can somehow avoid pain or prevent failure. But life is full of unpredictability. No amount of preparation can shield us from change, loss, or surprise. And in trying to control everything, we often become paralyzed by indecision. We delay living while we wait for certainty, but the truth is, clarity often comes through action, not before it. And action is only possible in the present. not in an imaginary future where everything is figured out. Being present allows us to engage with what truly matters. It helps us listen better, love more deeply, and respond more authentically. When we are fully present with ourselves, we recognize our needs, our limits, and our desires. When we are present with others, we offer them our full attention and respect, which deepens connection and trust. Presence isn't passive, it's powerful. It's what transforms ordinary moments into sacred ones. It's what turns a simple conversation into a memory, a small act into a source of healing. Furthermore, presence is where peace lives. Anxiety lives in the future, regret lives in the past. Peace exists only in the now. When we stop chasing answers and start noticing the moment, we breathe easier. We begin to see that life doesn't demand certainty. It demands presence. You don't have to know how every chapter ends to enjoy the page you're on. You don't need to understand everything to appreciate what's in front of you. The moment you are in is enough if you allow yourself to fully step into it. Ultimately, the obsession with having all the answers distracts us from the experience of living. There is profound wisdom in simply being. Being here, being open, being attentive. Answers will come in time. Decisions will be made. Paths will unfold. But the gift of life is not hidden in those answers. It is found in the unfolding. When we ground ourselves in the present, we align with life itself. We begin to trust that even without all the answers, we are exactly where we need to be. So many of us fall into the mental trap of postponing happiness. We tell ourselves that we'll start enjoying life after certain conditions are met. Once we have the perfect job, once we're in the perfect relationship, once we reach a specific financial goal, or once we feel fully confident. This mindset convinces us that joy is something to be earned, not experienced freely. And so we keep waiting, constantly putting life on hold, in the hope that the perfect version of it will eventually arrive. But in reality, life is happening now, not later. The longer we wait for perfection, the more moments we miss that could have brought us happiness, growth, or peace. The idea of a perfect life is an illusion. No life is free from challenges, imperfections, or unexpected twists. Even the people we admire or envy face difficulties behind the scenes. Believing that life will eventually become perfect sets us up for disappointment. It creates a moving finish line. Every time we achieve something, we discover yet another thing we think we need to be content. This constant pursuit keeps us trapped in dissatisfaction, always feeling that something is missing. The truth is, perfection is not a destination we reach. It is a fantasy we chase endlessly. By waiting for the perfect life, we overlook the imperfect beauty of the present. We miss out on small, everyday joys, the sound of laughter, the warmth of sunlight, the comfort of a shared moment. These seemingly minor experiences are the building blocks of a meaningful life. They may not be dramatic or life-changing, but they are real, tangible, and deeply fulfilling when we allow ourselves to notice them. Joy is not always a grand event. Sometimes it is the quiet realization that life is still beautiful, even in its messiness. This mindset of waiting can also lead to a form of emotional paralysis. We become so focused on the future that we stop engaging with the now. We hold back from expressing love, from starting new projects, from exploring our passions, because we are convinced the timing isn't right yet. But in doing so, we delay not just happiness, but growth, connection, and purpose. Life doesn't start once conditions are ideal. It starts when we say yes to it as it is, right where we are. Every moment we wait is a moment we forfeit. There is a profound power in embracing imperfection. When we stop waiting for everything to align perfectly, we begin to engage more fully with life. We laugh even when things aren't ideal. We create even when we are unsure. We love even when it's messy. We begin to find contentment not because everything is flawless, but because we choose to show up with gratitude and openness. This shift doesn't require a change in circumstances. It only requires a change in circumstances. It only requires a change in perspective. And that shift opens the door to a more present, joyful, and fulfilled way of living. Ultimately, the joy of life is not found in some distant perfect day. You will be waiting forever. The waves will always be there. You will be waiting forever. The waves will always be there. Once you decide to dive in, you discover that joy was never in stillness or flawlessness. It was in the experience of living right in the middle of the waves. We are often taught to approach life with logic, precision, and calculation, much like a math problem waiting to be solved. This mindset leads us to believe there's a correct formula to living, a sequence of steps that, if followed perfectly, will result in happiness and success. But life is not a linear equation with fixed variables. It's not always rational, predictable, or solvable. Life is much more like art, fluid, expressive, spontaneous, and deeply emotional. And just like a work of art, life is meant to be felt, experienced, and appreciated, even when it doesn't make perfect sense. Unlike math, which demands answers, art invites interpretation. Two people can look at the same painting and walk away with completely different feelings, and both are valid. In the same way, no two lives are meant to look the same. There's no single path, no correct way to live. When we try to calculate life with a strict formula, we often feel lost or inadequate when things don't add up. But when we see life as an artistic creation, we give ourselves permission to be unique, to change direction, to make mistakes, and to grow through trial and error. Life as art also means embracing imperfections. In art, it's often the flaws, the rough edges, and the unexpected brush strokes that make a piece beautiful and powerful. Similarly, our struggles, our quirks, and our failures are not signs that we are broken. They are part of the masterpiece of our lives. Trying to live with mathematical perfection often leads to rigidity and self-judgment, but approaching life like a canvas frees us to explore, to try new things, and to accept the richness of a human experience in all its colors. Feeling rather than overthinking, becomes essential in this artistic view of life. We don't always have to understand why something happens or analyze every choice down to the last detail. Sometimes we just have to feel the joy, the sorrow, the confusion, the wonder. Feeling connects us to the truth of our experience, while excessive analysis often disconnects us from the moment. Life is a series of emotions and experiences that flow into one another. By allowing ourselves to fully feel, we allow ourselves to fully live. Moreover, art is created with intention, but not always with certainty. Artists don't always know where a painting will lead when they start. Writers don't always know how a story will end, and yet they begin. In the same way, we don't need to have every step of our life mapped out to move forward. We can begin with what we know, what we feel, and what inspires us in the moment. The beauty of life emerges not from knowing everything in advance, but from having the courage to create as we go. Trusting that each stroke, each chapter, each choice will contribute to something meaningful. Ultimately, living life as art means embracing it as a process, not a product. It means valuing expression over perfection, presence over prediction, and experience over explanation. When we stop trying to figure everything out like a math problem and start living with the heart of an artist, we find freedom. We discover that meaning isn't something we solve. It's something we create moment by moment, emotion by emotion, breath by breath. So let us stop trying to measure life in calculations and formulas, and instead begin to embrace it as the masterpiece it is. Let us live fully, not waiting for perfection, not fearing the unknown, not obsessing over answers, but feeling each moment, learning from each challenge, and appreciating the beauty in both the light and the dark. Life is not a problem to be solved, it is a gift to be lived. And when we begin to live it with presence, acceptance, and heart, we realize that the true magic was never in solving life, but in experiencing it with open eyes and an open soul.